HTVRONT just sent me their new manual heat press to review, so I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to talk about the pros and cons, and I'm going to show you a few projects that I made. If you're just meeting right now, hi, my name is Nisha. Welcome to Little Craft Nest, and if you're returning, welcome back to another crafting adventure. Inside the box, you'll first find a manual, and then your control panel is going to be right on top. I had to put the box on the floor to pull the machine out and place it on my desk. It's about 35 pounds, so you should be able to move it around your craft room without any help. The press is currently available in white and light blue. I got the light blue one and I think it looks beautiful. It's nice and sleek and so much more aesthetically pleasing than some of those bulky industrial looking heat presses that you'll find. It has two cords attached to it that you'll need to unwind. One is your electrical cord, so plug that in the wall. And the other one you need to attach to your control panel. And the control panel allows us to set our time and our temperature. At the bottom of the heat press, you'll notice you have some feet there that you can turn in either direction so that you can make sure your heat press is level. On top of the heat press, you'll notice a knob there, and that allows you to adjust your pressure. So if you turn it clockwise, you'll have more pressure, and counterclockwise, less pressure. I love the fact that you can spin the heat plate all the way around. You can spin it in either direction. Just don't do a complete 360 because you don't want to mess with that cord in the back. The heat plate itself is 15 by 15 inches, so you have lots of room for both big and small projects. To test out the HTVRONT Manual Heat Press, I decided to do 3 different projects. I did one with HTV, that was a warm peel, and then we did some HTV, that was a cool peel product, and then I decided to do some sublimation. To set your temperature, all you have to do is rotate the temperature button with a little thermometer on it, and to set your time, rotate the time button with the little clock. Both of the knobs increase and decrease in increments of 5. So you can set your time for 10 seconds or 15 seconds, but you won't be able to set the timer for 12 seconds. When your press has reached its desired temperature, it will beep 3 times to let you know it's ready. But while you're waiting for your press to warm up, you can adjust your pressure by turning the knob one way or the other for more pressure or less pressure. You may want to give your crafting blank a quick press before you press your design on, so you can do that without using the timer. Just quickly press it down and then release it, and then you can put your design on top. When you're ready to press down your design, swing the heat plate over so it's on top of your project, and then use the handle to clamp down your press. You'll then need to press the timer button on your controller for 2 seconds for the countdown to begin. When your timer stops, you can lift up your press by pulling back the handle. I used a warm peel HTV for this project and it turned out perfect. To reset your countdown for the next project, all you have to do is tap the time button, then you'll be able to use your controller for the next project. Most of the HTV that HTVRONT sells is cool peel, so I decided to try that out as well. When doing a cool peel project, you want to make sure that you have a really firm pressure. Unlike warm peel projects where the carrier sheet just kind of falls off your project, for cool peels, it actually kind of still sticks to your project. So if you didn't have enough pressure, you might rip the HTV right off your project and then you'll end up with a mess. So make sure you have a strong pressure by lowering your heat plate. And then after you have pressed your design, let it cool for a minimum of 45 seconds. I know it's so tempting to peel it off sooner, but for this project, you have to be patient and wait. Once it's cool, go ahead and rip off that carrying sheet. This project with the Chameleon HTV turned out amazing, and I'm just loving the way this baby shirt looks. If you're wondering what HTV I used for these projects or where I got my designs, I'll have that all linked down below in the description. I also wanted to try out this press with sublimation. So I printed out some designs and got some car coasters prepped so that I could do a sublimation project. For sublimation on these car coasters, you definitely don't need a lot of pressure. You don't want to turn these into even flatter pancakes. So I set my machine to more of a light medium pressure rather than the hard pressure that I was using for the cold peel HTV. I also changed my time and temperature for this project. Once it was done, I raised my press, and I did use heat gloves for this because sublimation tends to get very hot because we are heating this project much longer than we do HTV. And here's the fun part. I love revealing my sublimation designs. It's so much fun. And these just turned out so good. Look how cute these are. If you want me to do a full tutorial on sublimation car coasters, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do that some other time. Okay, so let's talk about the pros and cons of this heat press. Maybe you're in the market for a heat press and you're eyeing this one up to see if it's a good fit for you. First of all, I have to say this machine is at a great price point. It is really hard to find a large manual heat press with the swing away heat plate at this price point. So just letting you know, this is a great deal. And if you want an even better deal and you're looking for a coupon code, if I do have a current coupon code, it will be on my website. And I try to keep those updated as best I can, but if you're looking for a discount, go check that out. I love that this machine is stylish. It's only 35 pounds, so you can move it yourself. My very first heat press was this large industrial looking heat press, and I had a really hard time moving that thing when I needed to move it. So I like that it is heavy and sturdy, but not so heavy that I can't pick it up myself. One thing that I didn't mention earlier is that it has an auto shut off. So if you left your machine alone for 15 minutes, you forgot to turn it off, it's gonna automatically shut off for you. And all of HTVRONT's heat presses do that, and that's one thing I really love about HTVRONT is that they keep safety in mind when they're designing their presses. I also love that you're able to rotate the heat plate in both directions, almost all the way around, but as we discussed before, don't spin it in circles, not a good idea. But as much as I love that feature, you do need to make sure you have a space for this heat press. You want it in an area where when you swing it open, it's not gonna hit anything else, and you're not gonna have any material underneath it that will melt on you if your heat plate is swung open over your table. So that's something that you'll just need to be cautious of. I also love that when it swings open, you're able to put your material on your press without having to worry about burning your hands on the top. That's one issue I notice with clamshell presses is that I'm always worried about banging my knuckles at the top, and I have done that before. I have burnt my hands. So I like that the heat plate is totally out of the way when you're playing around and fidgeting with the placement of your design on your t-shirt or whatever you're making. One thing I find very interesting about this press, and I'm not sure if it's good or bad, is that your time and temperature settings are on this little remote. It's not on the machine itself. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Let me know if that's something you like or not. I'm not really sure because I've never had a machine like that before. But I can tell you it works. It's just a different design element that I thought was interesting. Now let's talk about some of the cons. One thing that I don't like is that when you press down your press, the timer doesn't start automatically. And yes, I know it's a manual press, not an automatic press, but I have had other presses that were also manual presses, and the timer starts as soon as you press down your heat plate. So for this heat press, you need to press down your design, then hold the button for 2 seconds. So essentially you're adding 2 seconds to your pressing time. So that's something you may want to keep in mind. So you may want to set your press for a few seconds short or a few seconds longer. Which brings me to the second thing I don't really like. So the time goes up in increments of 5. So you can do 10 seconds and 15 seconds, but not 12 seconds. And I know 2 or 3 seconds is not a huge deal when you're using a heat press, but sometimes I do like to set it in between those times. So that's something you just have to be mentally aware of. So maybe you want to press a garment for 12 seconds. I would then, for this press, set my time for 10 seconds so that I have those 2 seconds to press that button, and then that'll equal my 12 seconds. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something that you have to keep in mind in the back of your head. You can also lift up your press before or after that timer goes up. So your timer is separate from your machine. So you can open and close that press whenever you want during that countdown time. Overall, I think this is a great press. I love the way my projects turned out. I had no issues with that whatsoever. If you're interested in learning about some of the other heat presses that HTVRONT has, you can go ahead and check out my unboxing video playlist right here. And I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.